Avengers Secret Wars is going to end another era of the MCU. And whatever the universe looks like when the movie's over, Marvel is going to have something they haven't really had since Endgame. A chance to decide what the MCU is again. Because I don't think the problem after the Endgame was simply that Marvel lost Iron Man or Captain America. The MCU lost direction. We got more characters, more corners of the universe, and more stories than ever before. But somehow the universe itself started feeling smaller. Instead of asking who comes after Doom, I would rather ask what comes after Secret Wars. What does Earth look like now? Who are the Avengers? And how do all these completely different characters actually fit into the same universe? Because Marvel already has almost everything they need, and the X-Men might be the perfect place to begin. Mutants shouldn't simply become another superhero franchise that happens to exist next to Spider-Man and the Avengers. Their arrival should change what it means to have superpowers in this world. Until now, most superheroes have been exceptions. Tony Stark built his suit, Steve Rogers took the serum, but mutants are different. They didn't choose it. You could be a normal kid one day and suddenly discover that you're something the world doesn't understand. That creates a conflict Marvel can spread across the MCU without turning every movie into an X-Men crossover. Imagine mutant protests happening in the background of a Spider-Man movie. Sam Wilson being asked whether the Avengers support the mutant registration. A kid in a completely unrelated Marvel series hiding their abilities because they're scared of what their family might think. Small moments like that would tell us that mutants didn't just arrive in an X-Men movie, and eventually that fear could grow into something much bigger. Sentinels, government programs, maybe even one day Genosha. But none of that needs to happen immediately. Let the world slowly react. Because while Earth is changing in one direction, Marvel already has another story waiting far beyond it. The Celestials. I still can't believe how enormous the ending of Eternals actually was. A celestial being emerging from Earth, another one appearing in the sky, taking the Eternals away and basically telling humanity that judgment is coming. Those are not small events, and we've barely explored what any of it means. After Secret Wars, I would love to see Marvel finally return to that side of the universe, but not necessarily with another Eternals movie right away. You could use a Fantastic Four or Thor. Use characters who actually have reasons to explore places normal people can't reach. Maybe Earth surviving everything from Thanos to Doom starts attracting attention. From cosmic perspective, this one planet is becoming ridiculous. It had survived alien invasions, celestials, gods, and now whatever Secret Wars is going to do to reality. At some point, someone out there should notice, and that doesn't mean celestials have to become the next big villains. I'd actually prefer it if they didn't. Make them mysterious. Make us feel like these are the beings operating on a scale our heroes barely understand. And once Marvel starts exploring that older side of the universe, there is another name that becomes very interesting. Null. Now, I definitely wouldn't finish Secret Wars and immediately have Null appear in the post-credit scene saying he's coming to Earth. That would just restart the same cycle. But the idea of Null existing somewhere out there opens up a completely different type of cosmic story. His comic history is tied to the symbiotes and reaches all the way back to the Celestials. So instead of introducing him as the next Thanos, you could discover him. Maybe a future Spider-Man story explores more of the symbiote. That leads us further into where these creatures actually come from. That's the connection I want. A story naturally opening a door to another part of the universe. And you can still have stories in New York. Daredevil doesn't need to know what a Celestial is doing on the other side of a galaxy. Spider-Man doesn't have to go to space and help the Fantastic Four. The connections can be much smaller than that. Maybe Peter swings past a building where people are protesting against mutants. Maybe Matt Murdock takes a case involving someone being discriminated against because of their X gene. Now, you've connected Daredevil to the X-Men without putting Wolverine on the rooftop with him. That's the kind of world building I think Marvel has been missing. And eventually, sitting somewhere in the middle of all of this should be the Avengers. Not the next Avengers movie, the actual team. There was a period in the Infinity Saga where you knew the Avengers existed, even when you weren't watching an Avengers movie. They had headquarters, they trained together, characters had relationships outside their individual franchises. You could believe that if something serious happened, somebody might actually call them. After Secret Wars, establish that again. Let Sam Wilson lead a proper Avengers team, and don't wait until the universe is ending to show them together. Give us an Avengers movie where the stakes aren't exactly existence itself. Maybe the growing conflict around mutants creates a situation where the Avengers can't simply punch the bad guy and go home. Some members might support Xavier, others might worry about what happens when extremely powerful mutants start appearing everywhere. Now the Avengers are involved in a world rather than waiting for the next purple alien to arrive, and those are relationships that can grow over several movies. So when the Fantastic Four discover something terrifying in space, Reed actually knows who to contact. When the X-Men finally need the Avengers, there's history between them. That's how you earn another giant crossover. And it wouldn't even tell us what that crossover is yet. That's probably the biggest thing I want Marvel to change. Let the things happen because they matter now, not because they'll matter in 8 years. Let the X-Men change Earth. Let Spider-Man and Daredevil make New York feel alive again. Let Sam build the Avengers, bring the Celestials back, and actually deal with what the Eternals started. And maybe somewhere along the way, we discovered something like Null has been a part of this universe for much longer than anyone realizes. Then one day, those stories might actually start moving towards each other. Maybe the next great MCU conflict comes from the mutants. Maybe it's cosmic. Maybe it's something we haven't even thought about yet. That's fine, because the Infinity Saga didn't simply work because Thanos existed. It worked because by the time Thanos arrived, we cared about the world he was about to destroy. That's what Marvel needs to rebuild. Make these characters feel like they occupy the same world again. That's what I want after the Doom Saga. A few years where Marvel stops racing towards the end and make us care about the journey again. But those are just my thoughts on where the MCU should go after the Doom Saga. I would love to know what you guys want after Secret Wars and what direction you think Marvel should take next. Also, if you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like and maybe even a subscribe. And yeah, that would be all. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.